Live. Hey guys, we're live. At least I think we are. Yeah, we are. We'll do some quick introductions, and thank you, Grand Cork, as a hero of Wisconsin. I don't think so. I'm the zero of Wisconsin. It's more like it.
How'd it feel to be corked, Cork?
Yeah, when Gio was running the chat, I knew he was going to run long anyway.
Sorry, then it takes a while because once we have that was a pretty fun chat, and once it's over,
yeah.
it's like everybody's saying whatever and BS a little bit. So sorry it ran long.
And again, no problems. Well, introductions we got to B. Girk, who's busy eating or something. Then we got Ralph DeCat, Black Guru, also known as Dave.
Proud to be here with Quark, the man with the most pussy.
Oh, that's a great, I think the best opening line I've heard. Then we got G Webs.
Howdy, I don't have anything to compare with that one. I see why you let it go first.
He killed it at that one. Got Nathan from Nathan's Armory, who is dead to the world or having a stroke or something's going on with Nathan.
He's reading something.
Oh, I saw his eyes blink. He's still alive. We got Still Guy 223.
Hey, what's happening?
Then we got Thin Blue Line 1995, who does not know who Weird Al Yankovic is.
Nope, I do not.
You fucking kidding me?
Isn't that a requirement to be in the chat?
Holy shit, were you been living under a rock?
No.
In Iraq?
I think he just got his driver's license, so come on.
Yeah, I'm 13. Like, how am I supposed to know this stuff?
And then, of course, myself here. One and two topics. So I was going to do a viewer's choice, but we ran long, so I'm not going to sit here and poll the audience, although we did have one vote from Dano. Both of these are G-Web's ideas, so we're going to take a quick vote here in the panel members. Guns and jobs or alternate prepping. So, what do you have a preference to talk about?
We can do both.
Ultimate prepping, that was not mine.
No, alternate.
Oh,
I mean
okay.
alternate. I mean
Yeah, what does
alternate.
alternate mean?
Like prepping if you were a female, right?
No, actually it came from the Hosh's penny discussion and the idea of prepping stuff besides food, I guess. That's what
Food and ammo and guns, yeah.
Tampons.
What else?
Wait,
Oh,
you
since
can
we're not
prep stuff
actually on the
besides
topic yet,
beans and guns? What?
did anybody watch Jennifer Young's chat the other day? She's new
No, I
to the
missed
schedule and lineup. She comes on Thursdays every other week before Tech Daddy and before Stone Guy, right? So she had a chat where it was like preppers, but it was like these two, I'm just going to say moms, because I don't think they're going to be offended by me saying that. And it was such a refreshing perspective to hear these, moms talking about prepping. It was awesome. So anyway, we kind of talked about prepping there for a second, so I just wanted to give her a plug, because that was pretty good chat. Anyways, add it to the lineup. It's there if you want to watch anytime.
Oh, that's cool. Well, definitely have to turn in and watch it if it's interesting.
Well, hell, I think we could do both topics. Let's start with the alternate prepping or alternative prepping.
All right. Well, as Gio said, this came from Haas's.
I think we need Hosh for it, though, because he's the one that knew all of. Did you guys hear the chat about pennies? The whole concept of penny mining or whatever it's called?
Yeah, it's penny mining, copper mining, basically what it comes down to.
Copper mining, yeah. Did you guys hear any of that chat? Because that's what happened. Is it came up in the middle of the night in a late night lobby chat where it just kind of happened. But Hosh, everybody knows Hosh, right? Has this little machine that can take a mess of pennies and go through them really fast and figure out which ones are copper or have the copper in them. And I guess the copper pennies are worth 2 cents instead of 1 cent. And the idea is you just keep doing that all the time. You get as many pennies as you can and go through them, right?
Actually, like they just coming to this realization. I thought that was a big thing like 4 or 5 years ago.
Oh, I'm sure. And then that's what I said. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. And the machine costs, it's not cheap. It's like $300 for the introductory model.
For sure, it's illegal too, by the way.
Yeah, I thought that was illegal
no.
too.
What's illegal?
Yeah.
Only if you melt it down.
Only if you melt them
You
down.
can own whatever
Absolutely.
you want. You can be aware of the discrepancy in the value of
How else
coinage
are you going to
and
extract the
own it.
value from it?
Hold on. I'm not Hosh. So first,
I'm not saying you are.
I'm
I'm
not being
asking you the
attacked. I feel like I'm
principle of
being
it.
attacked. I just don't know. I don't remember what he said. What did he say, Clark?
Pretty much when, shit hits a fan, you're going to need some
Just
form of value
of a coin, of a
in
thing.
a small
Okay,
portable idea.
I agree with that
So
aspect
look, you got a thing of toilet paper. I'm going to trade you
No.
a coffee can of pennies.
of real copper pennies. Then you have to prove to them that they're prior to the certain year. Then you have to
Hold
educate
on,
the
hold on.
person.
I think it's 1982 before
Well,
that.
half of 1982 is 95% copper, and then
That's
the
why I
remaining
think
one
this is
before
sloppy because
is
we're obviously Quark and I are the only two that even kind of remember what this was about, and we're not doing a good job of describing it because Hosh doesn't go around doing stuff half-assed. He obviously put some thought into it,
Right.
but so I know he had some reasons to do something, but
I'm
more
well
than
familiar
just
with the concept, but I personally don't deal in junk silver that much because I don't think the average person knows that there was a time that coins, or regular change was real silver or a
90%
certain
silver.
percent.
hold
And
on. But
then
after the fall of the world or whatever was what we're talking about, right? So the economies
yeah,
crash. Now we're
right.
talking about when people are going to only barter in what has real value, correct? You
What they
don't think that
believe, what they
existing pneumatic
believe.
coins or whatever? Well, all right, but I mean, coins existed back then because people could hold them in their hand and examine it and determine that it was a solid silver coin because of it would be too expensive to forge one, right? To fake one. So don't you think that in the lack of economy that people are still going to be able to figure out a solid silver coin from just a regular old dime?
I think
People will
I
learn because
agree.
they'll know
I
the
don't think that
dates and they'll know what it looks like.
That's what I mean. People like back in the days when you'd watch the western and the guy would bite the coin because that was I thought I was told that was because coins when they are literally gold or silver they wear away and you don't have a date anymore, so you have to bite it to see if it's literally the right material, right? The right
Well, gold
metal.
coins were often faked with lead by using lead. So
But okay, but I'm just saying that I'm just saying we're going to get to a point where these things might be common currency again if the worst case scenarios happen.
to
I think
me,
that's what I'm talking
overall
about.
scheme of things, it just makes more sense to buy pure that's marked from a third party. So that
Well, okay,
rather
but
than
that you
if,
have to
if you're going down,
go pay for the smelting and the shipping and the handling to get it to you. This you just go to the bank, you get a dollar's worth of pennies, you take the
it's
40 cents
way
and you give back a dollar.
It's pretty. That's like the last bit. Like silver's already been mined out of the banks that way, and pennies are.
Okay, well that's what I was getting at before, because that's my question. Is I was like, wow, $300 for a machine to bring out 2 cents out of one? Sure, that's 100% return, but we're talking pennies, so we're talking things that people don't like to deal with physically. But then he explained that the the place that sells the machine shows you that there's still what was it, Quark, like 10 years worth of or 10 decades worth of mineable copper still in circulation or something.
something like that. Yeah,
Okay,
with the
It
well,
seemed
machines
like
that
a
would
lot
sell.
of mineable copper, basically.
everyone look
Yes.
through your house and tell me if you even have one in your
One
house.
what?
One true copper
AK?
penny, pre-80, whatever.
I happen to because my grandpa gave me his coin collection, but I hear what you're saying. Yeah, I don't carry.
Coinflation. Well, you're talking
I
about
take
going to the
coins
bank.
back all the way back. Every time I get a couple of coins, I take them on to the bank.
The only way that you get them nowadays are people that are changing in coin rolls that they've had for a long time that they need to deposit into their account, and you can grab them before the bank sends them to it's not the mint, but their exchange or
Federal Reserve.
whoever it is. Yeah, they're reserved because they don't come back. Trust me. Neither do the silver, the real silver. They don't
Actually,
really come back.
copper coins do come back. Pennies, it's not worth the government's time to
Yeah,
go through and mine them.
I work at a bank and I know they recirculate old pennies.
Hold on, and
I
Oh,
don't care
also
about
the
that.
first time I heard about this concept was with silver dollars and 50-cent pieces from Cutlery Lover, like a year ago or ish, something like that, maybe more. And I remembered it, and I went to the bank and I got like $100 worth of 50-cent pieces, I think, and I got a pretty decent stack. I don't remember the numbers now, but I did get a almost a roll of 50-cent pieces that were either 100% silver or 50% silver.
They're
And then I
90
just took all the
or
rest back.
40, 90 or 40.
So I know that the potential is there because I personally have gotten the silver out. So they don't just keep all the silver.
No.
I
If you
would
go
like.
to the bank and you order a $500 box of half dollars, you're going to get one or two coins that are going to be 90% silver, one or two coins that are going to be 40% silver.
I will tell you. I will tell you this that I work at a bank and I have people that come in asking for silver coins, trying to find silver coins. And the only time we ever see those old silver coins is when somebody brings in a deposit of like grandma's
like grandpa's
coin
can
collection. It's very rare. I mean, I've seen it in 9 years. I've seen it I see it once a year or less.
Yeah, but you're in a fancy
not
1%er bank.
I'm not at a fancy 1% bank, but anyway.
Yeah.
But I mean, Hosh brought that up. He said so
the
there's
hell out
some
of what the
amount of.
banks have.
All right.
People have mined the banks for silver.
I say, I'm still saying this is a tough one to do because I just thought it was an interesting concept and it sounded like there was plenty of it out there.
The one benefit I could see is if you smelt.
Trust me on that one.
The one thing I can say is if you wanted to melt copper to make copper bullets, it would be advantageous to mine the pennies and use the pennies for the copper. That'd be the cheapest way to get copper.
Right, and the reason why copper pennies are so there's a reason why the copper penny is so popular right now. You think about it, Canada just got rid of their 1 cent piece. They're pennies. Now, a penny is always going to have a 1 cent value. So you can go ahead and start mining all these copper pennies you want out of the $500 box that you ordered. You'll get 25% on average that are going to be copper. Take those aside. So you're going to have that $125 or whatever the price is. Yeah, I'm just saying out of $500. 125 of those pennies are going to be copper. So you're going to have $125 of those pennies are going to be copper. So that's still $125. It doesn't lose value. You go out and buy a 1 ounce or a 1 pound bar of copper today at, say it's $3.50, and then 6 months from now, copper suddenly falls because they got a new mine opening up, and now copper is only worth $1. Guess what? You still have $125 in pennies, but you only have $1 in that 1 pound bar of copper now instead of $3.50. That's why it's popular. There's no lost value. It's only costing you a penny, and you're still going to have a penny.
Maybe that's what he said too, is he takes all the copper ones just back to the place where they'd give him more than a penny for them.
Right, he takes and sells his to a guy that gives him $150 for every $100 he has in copper pennies.
That's what it was. So that's why he's doing it, because then a couple of 6 times he does that, he pays for the machine, and then it's just gravy. Then it's copper gravy.
Yeah, so you got to find a place. You think about it, melt value on a penny right now is over 2 cents a penny. It's illegal to melt a copper penny. But the melt value, if you were to melt that down, is still 2 cents. It's going to cost you a lot more to refine that penny, get rid of that 5% that is zinc, than it is the worth of copper after you're done. In other words, you're not getting 100% return. You're actually losing a little bit of money, cost of the the fuel to melt that penny down, and the time it takes isn't worth the time. But someday it's a possibility that a copper penny is going to be worth 10 cents and be taken out of circulation completely. The penny is no longer in and around. So now it not only has its face value, it's also got a collector value and a melt value. So you got 3 different things here. You're always going to have a penny. Collectors might end up paying you, 10 times the face value. whatever it may be, because pennies no longer available. Look at wheat pennies and go look on eBay. Wheat pennies have been out of production since '59, and they're copper, but they still have a collector's value, even those that are worn.
Dude, I'm gonna start going through my pennies at work when I'm in my teller drawer and just take the ones that are pre-82 out and trade them
if you
in.
know what to look for, you can tell the difference between the 82s that are zinc and the 82s that are copper, but it's not worth your time.
I was just about to say, just do 81 and less.
Yes, and that's what most people are going to do, and then you'll have the people later on, like we do with silver. People were just, for the longest time after silver was taken out of production in '64, was the last year silver coins were made, at 90% anyway. When those were taken out, people were just taking and saving those that were 100% silver when the price was actually worth starting to save those up. But they left the 40% half dollars. If you're not familiar, 65 to it's like 70 or 71 were 40% silver in the half dollars. So people were just kind of leaving those because it wasn't worth their time, because they were only 40% silver. They were worth their face value, so they left those for a long time. And I used to go to the bank and get all their half dollars and go through them and get the 40%ers, and every once in a while I'd find a 90%er. But those 40%ers still were, face value was 50 cents, but I was able to go and take those in, and I thought it was a great thing because I was getting $1 a piece for them. So it was a great way to double my money, and it costing me, nothing on my pocket if I didn't strike anything.
Now, I will say this, that I've had customers come in, like this one guy came in griping because he had this, he's a property manager, and these meth heads went in and ripped all the copper out of 2 of his buildings that were not occupied. And, and he's just griping because, like, there's a what do you call it, a place where they trade and stuff, Trader's Village or something, I don't know what you call that, a flea market. And he says you can see people drive up in trucks with just all this ripped out copper in the beds of stolen copper that they've stolen out of electrical things from people. And it ends up, I think he said he had to spend like $20,000 to rewire the 2 buildings, some crazy amount, because you have to bring an electrician.
Yeah, well, I'm going to say this, and you don't have to, if you want to stockpile on copper, just on copper itself, there are plenty of places free you can get copper that's legal.
I'm just saying there's value to copper.
Yes, there is value to copper.
I mean, people are stealing copper and selling it, so, I mean, it's gone up in value. I mean, like crackhead, meth heads are stealing copper out of places. There's a guy electrocuted himself trying to pull copper out of an electrical grid box.
Yeah, I will say this as well. A lot of the stuff that you throw away, these electronics that you throw away, it's going to have copper in it. A lot of it's going to have, especially when it comes to computers, going to have some gold content. It's going to have palladium content. It's going to have radium content. It's going to have a lot of different content for value that you're throwing away, that you would just chuck in the trash. And you bother recycling. Just so you understand that.
How do you get that out? Do you just take it to a place that recycles them or something?
Well, it all depends. It's called, if you want to scrap it, like say your old tube television that you shot, there's probably about a pound of copper in there. It'll be scrap copper. It'll probably be number 2, but still, if you get a pound of that, that's $3 in just copper. And there's aluminum. There's all the wiring in there. There's even ferrite. Stuff that they make striking steel out. Striker fire starters out of. All that's in a television.
Well, I'm just thinking, like for instance, I have an old laptop in my attic, and just the idea of taking it apart to pull out the amount of whatever's in it, and if that stuff is integrated into the plastic circuitry, it's just like, is it worth going after even?
If you got a laptop, it's most likely, the RAM is the RAM and the CPU is where the most money is. The CPU, they can go for about $10 to $15 a pound. Whatever that comes out to an ounce, that's what the CPU is. RAM chips are most likely going to have gold fingers. And again, that's got a value per pound because it takes, refining. But there's also the IC chips in there that are going to have a value. The boards themselves are going to have a value by the pound. If you take that whole motherboard out, take the heavy stuff, in other words, the heat sinks, the aluminum heat sinks off of it, $5 a pound. Does it add up to do one computer at a time? No, but if you have 5 computers that you've got to get rid of, it's worth your time to go ahead and do that. You might walk out with a $50 bill. All right, I'm hurrying. You want to change topics already, G-Webs?
I'm just guessing we're going to lose everybody on this.
So alternate prepping's over.
Hosh has a lot more enthusiasm and knowledge of the prepping part of it. You know what I'm saying? We're just talking about the metals and
and a benefit to just think of it this way: when you get change, just go through and have a separate, like you throw your coins in a coin jar, just have a separate one for old market copper, and just look at your pennies, and if it's 81 or less, throw it in the copper jar. And if things fall apart, you have copper that if you know someone who can melt it down into bullets, that's got a value that you can trade it for, because I guarantee you if stuff falls apart, we're still going to at some point during the resurgence have people who have to learn blacksmithing and bullet loading and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there are a lot of other metals out there that'll be worth money, but not in a convenient form. 1 penny is going to be roughly the same weight. There's only so much wear you can do on 1 copper penny. Same with a silver coin, and that's why they're great for a prepping situation, because they're still currency, but they're currency that also doubles as something else. You need that silver coin to make silver bullets to kill those werewolves that are chasing you.
Well, I was about to say, if you can get a hold of, I like retain all the lead I find, and now I'm going to start doing these pennies just so I have lead and copper, because again, those are 2 items that are easily made into other things. They're 2 metals that are easily made into other things, and someday maybe I'll want to, cast my own bullets. That's the worst case scenario.
Have you ever tried to melt copper? Copper melts at extremely high temperature.
Yeah, it's not easy.
That's what I was going to say. You don't just go into copper smelting, I don't think.
No.
Hey, you're talking to the goofball that made his own ninja sword out of a leaf spring.
I'm going to say this about lead, though. Lead is heavy, so it becomes a very difficult commodity to trade in, to be mobile with.
Yeah, fuck, you going to pack a backpack full of lead and pennies? Come on.
Yeah, well,
I wasn't saying it's in my... I'm not putting the pennies and the lead in my emergency get-out-of-town bag, That's not my go bag full of coins and metal.
No, but I'm just giving you can easily carry around $100 pennies with you, which could be equal to $100 in shit at the fan situation.
Well, hell, why wouldn't you carry 100 dimes? 100 dimes that are 64 and under that are 90% silver. It's a lot more valuable than fucking a copper penny.
Yes, but what I'm getting at here too is that pennies are a lot easier to get, and they don't cost you, silver weight. If you want to go and buy 64 dimes and before, unless you're sitting there mining, spending $500 and getting 1 dime at a time out of $500.
Oh, you're saying the likelihood of coming across a copper penny is greater than a silver?
Much greater.
Yeah,
right.
Okay.
Okay, wait.
Now, if you work in the jewelry business like Stone Guy and that they buy silver coins, it's a lot easier for you to come across the silver at less than...
But let's not act like regular silver isn't hard to get. I mean, come on. I'm looking at bullion right now. It's just stacked up. It's not hard to find regular silver bullion that's universally understood to be 99% That's why you won't have to educate someone on the side of the road of, oh, pre-60 this is this percent. Like, or if it's printed on there from a regular known name.
Alternate prepping. So we're saying that a way to get this at face value with not costing you more than the face value of an item.
Yeah, you're going to pay.
No. It costs you your time
for silver.
Right.
Very much
it's not costing
you
you more than the face value of the item. In other words, the face value here is a dime. It's not costing you more than 10 cents.
I have one other thing that I saw a prepper guy do that he's done for years, which probably isn't as fruitful now. But what he would go is he would go on Saturday mornings to estate sales, and when they had the sterling silver, he would bring a scale and he would weigh it, and then when it came up for auction, he would not pay more than like 60 or 70% of the value in the weight in silver. And he would buy the sterling silver, which is, I think, 90% silver or something like that, when it's marked sterling.
Right.
Sterling, I think it's 93.
93, okay. So he would be buying old silver things like dishes and cups and all sorts of things made out of silver, or goblets and things like that. He'd buy them, he'd weigh them, make sure they're marked sterling, weigh them, and then pay only 60% of the value at most for them. And then he had a hydraulic press, and he would always crush them into discs with the sterling mark visible, so that he just collected chunks of discs of silver.
Well, I noticed this. A friend of mine, he works at a shop that buys.
Can I interrupt for just a second? Because that sounds like more of an excuse to use your hydraulic press than to collect silver.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, yeah, and he probably goes to estate sales and buys other things too. So anyway.
Yeah. Well, they buy a lot of precious metals. It's just part
I
of
like
their
to buy
business,
tomatoes and then crush them in my hydraulic press so that they're easier to store.
Yes, I like to buy cans of soup and smash.
You're gonna make spaghetti without a hydraulic press. Come on.
Yeah, but the run when silver spiked recently, they say they saw a run of people bringing in their sterling.
Oh yeah, when it almost it got right at $40, and that was
yes.
It was ridiculous, and yeah.
Grandma and all her friends were taking their silver that they had for years and years saved away, one brought out, and the amount of sterling out there in silverware that was relatively easily gotten before this $40 an ounce price came out is now much more difficult to find. People aren't sitting on it because they cash it in. When you could sit there and have a couple pounds worth of silverware, a couple pounds, and cash in on that, and you're getting $30.
No, dude, a typical silverware set anywhere from $800 to $1,100 is what people are getting for
right.
Like an 8-piece, 12-piece set. With the
saying, well, there are a couple pounds of sterling in there, which it's not going to be the whole price. But I'm saying on $30 for an ounce is what my place was giving when sterling was at the highest price. They were paying $30 off the street. They're making $10. I'm talking about pure breakdown of $30, purely broken down 100% silver.
Yeah, let's they were paying. That was a good price for sure. So, what was the other topic besides the alternate prepping that you were talking about?
Ideal gun for each job is what G-Web says, and I'm going to let G-Rebs in this section because I think he has the idea down more solidly than I do.
Okay, so I got one for you. What is the best gun?
Hold on.
If you are
What are you doing? What are you doing, Nathan? G-Webs is about to announce the new topic.
Oh, sorry. I thought we just did.
Go ahead.
Just fucking with you, man.
Okay, so what is the best gun if you're home alone and you're the vice president's wife and you hear a noise outside?
Ooh, I know this one. A shotgun. A double-barrel shotgun.
And what do you do with it?
You point it up in the air and shoot both shots.
Cash.
Both barrels.
But that putting holes in your roof, you're supposed to go where first?
Outside.
Out on the balcony.
The back balcony.
Yep.
And
That's
forget, don't bother the Secret Service while you're at it.
Well, I would say shoot into the servants' quarters in the back building because they don't matter, right?
Oh. Damn.
It's good to be the king. Oh.
Speaking of that, what's that? Oh shit! What was that movie with Jamie Foxx, where he's a cowboy? Dango, something.
Django Unchained.
Django.
I've never seen it.
Django. Holy shit! You guys got to check out Django. That was a fucked up movie. It was a good movie, but yeah, I can't believe they. Yeah.
That's
anyway.
a Tarantino. He just takes it to the next level. Okay, let's come up with another job.
All right. So seriously, no, I didn't understand the overview of the. What's the topic?
Guns for the best guns for the job, and then just have the audience or the people listening throw ideas out there for jobs, or else like you just didn't just come up with a job.
Okay, oil rigger.
Person. Seriously though, like ice cream person.
Like the kind that drives the truck, or the kind that works in a shop?
Oh, sorry, the ice cream truck, yeah, where they might have kids coming.
Yeah, you need something high capacity. I mean, those kids mob that truck.
I just got to say, I'm going to start this off, minigun mounted on the roof.
Now, let's be serious.
I was thinking realistically, you might bring a taser or something, because, yeah, if some dog comes running up or something. I don't know, or we can go crazy with it, I don't care.
You could have, like...
No, that's kind of cool, though.
You could be an ice cream guy in a bad neighborhood and need some firepower, man.
Well, let's be realistic, because if you do have kids around, you may want to choose a less lethal option.
Bear spray.
But it's going to be a close quarter thing, because they're going to be coming up to the ice cream truck, so you're going to be,
well,
and you're going to be in a small area, confined area, so you're going to need something maneuverable. So either a pistol, you could say you could do a little shotgun, like a little coach gun, but then the spread, may potentially hurt some kids. So
maybe rock salt, or
I'm going to say a Glock 19. No.
I don't even know if I want a firearm in that situation. I think less than lethal in that situation. Just because the chances of hitting a child would be
tranquilizer gun. Because if you hit a kid, it doesn't matter.
I do like the taser idea because the bear spray would hit the kids too, but the taser you could aim right at the perp trying to rob you.
I don't want to get all super political on you, Cork, but if you're going to attract a bunch of other people's kids up to you so that you can profit off of it, right? Seems kind of irresponsible to not then be willing to protect them kids from a predator, because you're also creating a thing where you're going to attract the weird-ass predators that are going after little kids, right?
Yeah,
so,
that's true.
I mean, what if, okay, I'm going to be crazy. What if you did it like Wild Stone Guy's Old West ice cream thing, and you just kept a 6-shooter like what Yankee would do, an open 6-shooter, and then some crazy weirdo isn't going to just walk up to somebody who's openly armed, and obviously you don't pull it out and swing it around in front of the kids for like a cap gun or something, but I don't know. Obviously, I just came up with ice cream truck off the top of my head. I didn't.
Well, I'm thinking about this. If you want to do a theme, great idea is to do the Western theme with your dual wielding, a couple of single action that don't look threatening with that outfit. It's a lot different just sitting there as a cowboy with a Glock 19 strap on your side.
Truck like Cowboy Dick's ice cream or something, just.
What about a cab driver?
Shotgun.
Yeah, shotgun or a subcompact you're going to carry on your first.
I'm going to say Glock 19.
Get back over your shoulder into the back of the cab, though.
Glock 19.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. Yeah, with close
Glock 19
quarters.
in the left-handed shoulder holster, so that it's already aimed at the back seat. All you got to do is reach your hand in front of your chest.
There you go.
Yeah,
shoot through the seat.
Well, a lot of those cabs in the dangerous areas now have that plexiglass divider.
I was just about to say the Lexan, because that's honestly, who the fuck, you're letting a stranger in your vehicle behind you with a tactical advantage. You know, it could be in your blind spot. They could pull a gun out. I mean, there's so many cab drivers that got shot.
Your job is to get paid cash.
Right.
Your job is to get paid cash by people.
Yeah.
I would definitely want something that's high capacity too. So, well, normal capacity, but
real
estate
agent, because you're going to show houses and
something small,
bad neighborhood.
Yeah, small, compact.
I'm gonna say a Glock 19.
You're gonna say a Glock 19?
Stone guy, you're gonna say a Glock 19 for everything.
I'm gonna say a SIG 224 in that situation. It's classy. Either that or like a Kimber Ultra Carry. Something that's classy to you. Definitely not a Glock or Ruger, but
I was thinking something small and compact, like maybe
that's
a 380 or something.
224, a SIG 224 is a compact.
All right, a Glock 26 then.
Okay.
Stone guy, you really want to get booted tonight, don't you? You're just gonna say Glock for everything.
That's because it's perfection. There's not a job out there that a Glock 19 can't take care of.
That sounds like a challenge. Somebody has to come up with a job where that wouldn't work.
I want a mercenary that's got to take out enemy tank. We're gonna use a Glock 19.
Oh, I can think of one job where you wouldn't be able to carry a Glock 19.
Where's that?
Stripper?
As Quark's bodyguards.
Yeah.
He would put it in as a requirement. You got to carry a SIG prop.
Yeah. And when he's getting his ass beat, you just be like, "Man, you wouldn't let me bring my Glock."
It's malfunctioning. It's malfunctioning. I don't want to scratch it. It costs too much.
Okay, I got a job
that scratching a 2022. So there you go.
I got a job that I've noticed whenever this lower end armored car company comes in to deliver our money at the bank. This guy comes in and I'm like looking at his gun in his holster, and it's a silver Smith & Wesson. Looks like it's about 20 years old. Revolver. I think it's 38 or 357, and it's always got a number on the side of it. Like they just have them in a stack, and you pick one out. And I'm like, that's just
they're numbered for the security guards, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, oh, I'm gonna carry number 7 today, or I'm gonna carry number 5 today.
Right. Well, they're issued to the guard, so yeah, like the morning shift guard would have number 5, and then when late shift guard comes on, he gets number 5. So it's crazy.
Yeah,
and
they're
honest to God, they have revolvers. The local security around our area that does like bank security, I can't remember. It's like Guardia or something. The company, they make them carry fucking revolvers, and I'm like, really? Come on.
Well, it's better
I know, and they can't carry their own guns. I said, can't you carry your own gun? And he goes, no, they give me this one, and I'm like thinking to myself, well, A, it's a revolver. B, how do you know that that's sighted in properly if you're always carrying a different stupid revolver?
Well, and I guess it's better than nothing, but seriously, we're in the 21st century, people. Why are they giving them? Why are they putting them at a disadvantage to start with only having 6 rounds? When
I'm going to say this: a lot of it is because of insurance reasons for the armored car.
I was going to say perception. When you walk into a bank or whatever, then you look like, I don't know, the image they want to offer, maybe.
Well, but I mean, the guys that got walking in are, they have an armored car outside. They're in full uniform. I mean, the gun on their hip doesn't matter.
But I mean, saying they try to make them look like discreet and professional as opposed to like the SWAT team running in, right?
I don't think. Look, we had the armored car company that we had before this one, because they alternate them every. Like we use 3 armored car companies, but like my bank has to have 2 years of being delivered by this armored car company. Then we'll have 2 years of getting done by like Loomis, and then Wells Fargo will do it for 2 years, and then Dunbar.
I have a question about that. What's the schedule of the armored car coming up to your bank? When is it most full?
That I don't know.
Friday mornings.
But anyway, the funny thing is that this particular rotation, these armored car guys that are coming into my bank, we just went from Loomis, which has like they are like hardcore. They hire like ex-military guys. They know their stuff. To these guys who can't even tuck their shirts in, it is just a night and day difference in appearance these guys have. I mean, it's like, that's the lowest bidder right there. And they got the revolvers they're issued, and just it's just like, man, these guys, I don't know. I feel safer when the high-end Loomis guys walk in because their head's on a swivel. They're, they just look high speed and they act high speed. These guys come in like slobs, and I'm like, dude, somebody's gonna hit these guys.
Well, trust me, it's not the same. The security.
So in other words, they're giving an
truck,
impression of we're an easy target. Try it.
Oh yeah, they're obviously not giving. In my opinion, I'm watching them, and I am not impressed by their skill level at all. If I were, it's like if you ever watch what's the movie, the Town or whatever, where they're like, I don't want to hit this armored car because there's this one guy that looks like, he's got his pants tucked into his boots, and he looks like he's a loose cannon, and of course that guy becomes a problem when they do decide to hit the armored car. So I'm thinking if it's a good team, they're not going to hit the armored car where the guys look like they know what they're doing. They're going to pick one where the guard and the driver look like they're lazy chops.
Well, I'm going to say this. Armored car around here, at least one I saw going into the grocery store, they were carrying Taurus revolvers. Taurus.
That's the lowest bidder.
Yep.
What is your branch number?
They're going into a grocery store to do a pickup, but Taurus,
So
they're the old Taurus. They were beat the hell.
So
It's
what's
like
the perfect?
from South America.
Then what's the perfect gun for an armored car?
Uzi.
Ooh.
Are you being for real or just saying that? Because I think an Uzi might actually be like,
Uzi.
well, I'm not going to mess with them. That's a
little
freaking
Uzi with a
machine gun.
stock.
Yeah, well, if you want to go for perception of being tactical, then yeah, definitely
Or an
decked out
MP5.
with the, well, with a MP5, something like that. Something that look like you're really serious. Look like you're almost going into freaking SWAT. Like you're gonna take me out. You can handle this.
Or if you don't want to look threatening, the new 9mm Smith & Wesson revolver.
Well, if you don't want to look threatening, then a whole bunch of Colt Pythons. But
Well, no. Well, you only got, 5 shots with that?
doesn't matter if you want to look really super uber awesome.
Okay,
You come in there with a Colt Python.
I'm gonna make a suggestion on caliber. I think armored car personnel should carry 357 SIG pistols of some sort because
SIGs. Just carry SIGs with 357 SIG.
Okay, but I'm just saying that's a great cartridge because let's think about what they're doing. Bad guys roll up typically in a car, jump out to go after their armored car. So again, they're going to need the same thing highway patrol officers are going to need. They're going to need to be able to shoot through windshields well. So, and if they hide behind the door. So I think 357 SIG would be a great round for their job.
It would be an awesome round.
I agree with you because that's the weakness of that round is when you have people that are smaller, right? Smaller people than other, just shorter or whatever. And with an armored car, you have part of the requirement is that you can lift up a bunch of money and do a physical job. So less of an issue, I think, on the the negative sides of the 357 SIG, but for those reasons, plus just if somebody's coming after an armored car, they're not just accidentally coming after an armored car. You assume they're going to be wearing armor and they're going to be coming for bear. So you got to be able to meet them like that.
Yep.
I'd say 10mm or 357 SIG and a pistol for sure.
Then you're definitely going to have to back it up with a rifle of some sort. For the person that's stuck behind in the truck in the back with the
driver has a pump 12 gauge with slugs in it.
Yeah, well, you got the driver that stays in the cab. There's another person that always stays in the back, and there's a person that does deliveries. It's a 3-person job, at least here.
Okay, so the guy in the back has the slug gun.
So you want a slug gun or maybe an AR-10. No, 308.
We're talking about. I will say this about armored car people is they're not going to get expensive on their armaments because again the price that they pay those guys and they have to compete with each other. It really is a competitive low bidding end.
Well, I'm saying the ultimate
types. Well, yeah, I guess you're right, but I mean,
because here outfitting.
If you look at an AR-10 versus a 12 gauge Remington, you're talking about $1,000 difference.
But you're arming them with a 357 SIG, which is not a cheap gun to begin with.
Or the Glock, whatever number it is.
They used to have the San Francisco Reserve in my city. Don't ask me why the San Francisco Reserve is in Portland, Oregon, but it used to be. And they would have your normal pistols, but they would carry the 9mm Colt AR-15s. And every time they backed the truck in, like 2 of them would get out and stand in the street with their like submachine guns, stop traffic, and they'd back the truck into the reserve and they'd close it. They'd go in and close a giant gate. But every time they got out of that truck, they'd get out with a Colt 9mm submachine guns.
That is a good point. When you get out of the vehicle, if it's something really like beyond just a normal shipment of deliveries and pickups, if you're moving something of real high value, yeah, you need intimidation factor.
Usually the armored trucks they were backing into the reserve were like 3-axle trucks. They were like the biggest armored cars I've ever seen. They weren't just the standard like two dualies in the back. They were like double axle in the rear. They were like huge armored trucks.
Mm-hmm. Well, I got one here, a dog walker.
Taser.
Glock 19.
Taser.
Glock 19.
Barrett 50.
Barrett 50.
Wait, I'm sorry. You said dog walker.
Yeah, what are you going to have to deal with when you're walking a dog?
I figure other dogs mostly.
Yeah, other dogs.
You need a good can of mace.
Pepper spray, yeah.
Pepper spray. For because I've been out walking my dogs, and I've had other people where their dog's in their yard, not on a leash, and it just charges across the street, which the biggest danger is it just getting hit by a car. But also, I don't want it to, usually they're cool when they get over to my dog, but, still, they might not be. I mean, you ever see that video where the dog goes, attacks that kid on a tricycle, and then the cat beats it up?
Yeah.
But, I mean, that happens.
Yes, and Cork, have you seen that video? I think he based a good portion of his life on that video.
So maybe
that cat was awesome.
I'm protected by 4 attack cats.
Maybe
that was a mean putty cat.
There's a reason he
I gotta say, you need 4 attack cats because 3 will go on strike at the worst possible time.
So what you're saying is instead of carrying a gun when you're walking a dog, you should carry a cat?
Yes.
Just one you can throw out, like for self-defense.
A properly trained cat.
Yeah, a compact cat.
Like the cat lady from The Simpsons?
Yes. But you think about that too. If you're a dog walker, you're gonna have your hands full. At least one hand full of dogs with leashes. So another thing is a gun you can fire easily one-handed.
So what kind of gun should a pimp carry?
Hey, I'm still talking about this dog walker. So you got a gun
a gold-plated Glock 19.
We should ask DB.
Hold on. Pimps have to have pearl handles on whatever they carry.
That's why I said a gold-plated Glock 19.
What does a pearl handle have to do with the gold-plated?
Be gold-plated. It's a pimp. It's got to be blinging too.
Okay, so you're saying gold-plated and pearl handled then?
Right.
Okay, I can agree with that.
So you're saying that this gun here won't qualify as being a pimp?
And I'm a pimp.
If it was a silver nickel-plated with pearl handle, that would qualify, but not black.
Did you have a soundbite of him saying I'm not a pimp?
No, I don't have a soundbite. It's probably in one of the chats, but...
I said, I'm a pimp.
That was a pretty good impression.
Yeah.
Yeah, come on. If seriously, if you're a fucking pimp and you want a pimped up gun.
Like I said, we should ask DB. I'm sure he deals with pimps all the time. He's got to pay somebody.
Look at the money that he pays, the pimp stays outside. He doesn't have any contact with them. Do you know that actually, I was watching a documentary, those girls go in and they have a way that their guy outside can listen in, so if there's trouble, he can come in, like they have a listening device or their phone on in their purse in case the John gets out of hand.
I did not know that.
They got a microphone in their coochie.
For DB, there is sex in the champagne room.
Yeah. And, well, DB did put a thing in here for pilot, and if Stone Guy says a Glock 19, I'm going to shoot him with a Glock 19.
Well, good. At least you'll have to buy a damn Glock 19. Yeah.
I'll just steal one from somebody else.
Glock 26.
He's close to the iron pipeline going into Chicago, so he could probably get one of those illegal guns.
There you go.
I think a pilot would. The gun isn't so much a big deal, so Glock 19, but then the ammo, right?
Yeah,
that
ammo has to be disintegrating.
Frangible.
Yeah.
Frangible.
That's such a crock of shit. They've already disproved that. You cannot depressurize even if
doesn't
you
matter.
Stone Guy.
It's not about shooting a window and having a movie thing, but just so that you hit the bad guy and not go through the bad guy and hit the stewardess.
Okay.
You're talking about two things. You're talking about close quarters with people in rows.
Yeah. Okay, I'll give you that.
You don't want over penetration at all.
Your background's pretty messy inside of a plane. That's why when you see the things about the SAS going or the GSG-9 going into those planes in the 80s and 70s, and they didn't hit one passenger, that's amazing marksmanship. You know, that's not luck.
Skill.
That's a skill.
Yeah. What does the air marshals carry? What do they carry?
357 SIG.
It depends on what movie we're talking about.
But with the frangible ammunition in them.
Yep.
Right.
I'm gonna look it up.
And honestly,
the point is there's nothing in a plane you can hide behind that you need penetration on.
Right. Well, in the higher velocity, the less penetration you're going to get. You're going to get more of an energy dump, as soon as it enters. So something high velocity, like a 357 SIG, is perfect.
It says they carry a P229 within 357 SIG, an ASP, and handcuffs.
Yep.
Snap.
Yep.
And a flashlight, I would think.
And Liam Neeson on speed dial.
I would expect them to have a taser too, but okay.
I'm sure.
Buddy of mine's an air marshal, and
this is Wikipedia. Who knows?
There is a reason why they use that firearm for that situation.
Well, and I'm sure that these things, it's not like, oh, you're an air marshal, so here's your kit, and you get the same exact thing as everybody else. It's whatever you get in your department or your whatever they would call that.
Well, air marshals are all set up by the same.
Yeah, air marshals are under the same control group.
I hear you, but there's got to be more than one office, regional offices or whatever they would be called. I'm just saying, somebody's going to have like more budget than that guy, and so one of them might have a Beretta, and one of them might have a Glock, and one of them might have a SIG, for all we know.
The biggest problem the air marshals used to have is they used to be run by the ex-Secret Service. One of their higher-ups ran the air marshals for a while, and they had to basically beg, plead, and fight to not have to wear suits on planes because the guy kept making them dress like Secret
federal
Service
agents
in suits and federal agents. It's like you're on a plane to Cancun in a businessman suit. You stick out like a sore thumb.
And plus, how do you do your job if you have to be physical with a suit on?
Right. He said they're supposed to be undercover, so you don't know it's them. So it took forever to get to where they could dress like the rest of the people on their flights. And then he said the other problem was they were being boarded first on the plane. So like the stewardesses were like, "Can we get the handicapped people and the air marshals up here?"
Have you guys ever seen Bridesmaids?
Yes. Excellent.
That's the funniest damn movie.
Bridesmaids? It sounds like a chick flick to me.
It is a chick flick, and it's a great movie.
Oh, you haven't seen it yet?
Talking about the Glock 19?
No.
Okay.
Do they have a Glock 19 in it, Stoker?
No, they had the air marshal.
What you carry in your wedding, because I know some of you guys are married, and I don't know anybody that I know personally that hasn't carried during their wedding.
Yeah, I did.
What'd you carry?
Cannonball. Glock 19.
Glock 19.
Did you have to ask?
Fucking, dude.
Why did you ask Stone Guy that? The answer is always the same. Stone Guy, what did you circumcise your firstborn with? Glock 19.
Now that was a Benchmade.
It's a Glock knife. What are you talking about?
Oh shit! I should have went there. Damn it!
Yes, you should have said a Glock 78.
A hot shell casing for my Glock 19. It was perfect.
Oh god damn it! It's gross.
So what about nobody with a nice 1911 or anything?
Wedding?
Oh.
Yes.
I think I'd have to do Ruger LCP or J-frame so that no one would know except me.
Are you talking about your own?
First off, if you guys haven't gotten married yet, it's a great excuse to get another gun, right? Because you're like, oh no, it's a tradition. A lot of gun guys get a new gun for their wedding. So one, you get a new gun, and then two, get a gun that you can't afford because somebody else will probably buy it for you. So I would say something like HK or FN.
So why are you still single?
You're still in a tux, right? You're going to wear a suit or a tux, probably tux. I mean, come on.
PPK.
Yeah, nice 1911.
Oh.
Yeah, PPK maybe. Exactly.
PPK, hell yeah.
All the way in the shoulder
I'll do a
holster.
PPK, yeah. Or
I
I'm telling
registered
you,
an
Ruger.
HK.
LCP, dude. Cheap, white, trash, wedding. All the way.
I carried at my friend's wedding this last week, and LCR. So yeah, I was cheap.
The only time I ever
explains why G-String has been married like so many times and divorced. It's a reason for him to get a new gun, even though his ex-wife takes half of it once they get divorced. But he still gets a new gun.
I'll answer for him. He'll do the SIG 938 or whatever it is. The single action SIG.
I did once carry a sword at a wedding, but that was to do a saber arch in college.
Oh, I did too, actually. First wedding I was ever in, I got to carry a sword, I should say. We had to petition for it, but then I carried a sword.
What gun? Excuse me. What gun should this girl I put in the side carry? I'm thinking something belt fed she might need after the game's over.
I can't see it because I'm on my phone. My new excuse.
Don't you own a computer? You're a pimp.
No, yeah, but I gotta walk around. I gotta do dishes.
So,
hold on.
That never opened for me. I don't see the picture either.
That ball girl you just posted in there, is she reacting to something in the game, or is she just taking a dump on that bucket she's sitting on?
No, she effed up the play for. And the
Yeah, she grabbed a fair ball that she thought was foul.
Yep. And she's a Red Sox ball girl, so I'm thinking she needs something belt fed for after the game's over.
Screw the Red Sox, they suck anyway.
She needs
no, that
something
definitely calls for a minigun.
She needs something she can shoot herself in the face with to change her identity.
Poor girl.
I would suggest for her perhaps a mounted Mark 19 grenade launcher.
Yeah. Who said that? Ohio, I think, said. Yeah, Ohio, Little League coach.
Little League coach, yeah, he shouldn't be able to carry, obviously. Duh.
Yeah, or and
well,
we kind of
though,
club this together. Anything where you work.
Do
yeah.
baseball pants even have pockets?
Yes.
You're talking belly band. You got to rock the belly band, and
I
it
think
has to have like a fucking
coach with a Glock 19, but I don't think the coach needs to have a gun.
Glock 26 belly band.
All right. What about like a Cub Scout or a Boy Scout troop leader?
Nope. Firearms are prohibited.
Yeah, that blew me away. I went to the Boy Scout Museum, and they have they had a no carry sign in front of the Boy Scout Museum going in, the sign to block concealed carriers, and I'm sitting there going, it's in Dallas. It's in Dallas.
You can bring your railroad, just not your gun.
How big is it?
Oh, it's a big museum. I mean, it's literally, you go on a tour and it takes about 45 minutes to go through. It's a nice facility. They got all sorts of Norman Rockwell paintings in there too that he made for the Boy Scouts of America back in the day. But I mean, I was shocked because I'm coming in there going, they have shooting sports in the Boy Scouts. They even had guns in there on display in the cases, and it's sitting there going, concealed carriers can't carry in here with the signs. And I'm sitting there going, what the hell? That makes no sense.
It's just a suggestion.
No, in Texas, they had the actual 30-06 legal sign where you can't carry in there. It's against the law.
I didn't know. That sucks.
Yeah, Texas has one sign that can stop a concealed carrier, and it carries with it heavy penalties.
That's too bad.
All right, what about a Walmart employee?
That I would think a 380 in a pocket would be fine.
Anything they can shoot themselves in the head with.
Well, I'm thinking about what could a Walmart employee afford to own.
They just need a
380.
Saturday night special. That's about all I can think of.
Shit, they just need to carry
Wait, did you just say afford to own? So now you're saying that all Walmart employees are poor?
On what they're paid, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not talking about management here that get like $30,000 a year. I'm talking about these poor shops that are minimum wage and working just shy of full time.
This just should get a key to the freaking rifle case. That's all they need.
Ruger LCP, it's $230.
I shit you not. I don't know if this is like this in y'all's area, but like, you know, there's a Walmart probably within 10 blocks of each other. You know, like there's a Walmart, and then you go 5 miles down the road, there's another Walmart. But
that's not 10 blocks.
Well, goddamn, dude, I'm being, generalities here. Come on. So they're in the nice part of town. Our Walmart carries everything, guns and ammo and knives and the hunting section. And then in the shitty part, like the hood part, they don't carry guns or ammo in their Walmart.
It's not even the hood, dude. I called up and asked. They said if they're inside a city limit. So I guess like if they're inside any kind of major city limit, they're not going to have guns or ammo. Once you get outside a city limit, you're straight. I mean,
in Tucson, they are inside a city limit, so it's definitely different. When I did a video a while back, because I noticed a Colt at a Walmart a long time ago now, 2010 maybe or something. It seems like a long time ago. Anyway, I did a quick video of the Walmart, of the Colt being at the Walmart, and just posted it to like basically say, hey, look, I didn't know there was Colts at Walmart. And then it turned into a massive video where you get a lot of comments on it. And I think the consensus at that time, from what everybody was saying, was that it's up to the manager. So the manager decides of the Walmart whether or not. Well, the store will, the chain will decide whether or not they can have them. But if they can, it's still up to the manager whether or not he wants to allot space on the floor. But here in Tucson, they all have guns, and they're all in, not all of them, but they're in town.
And again,
I think it's a manager and also their proximity to a school.
We only got one in my city.
And it could be their proximity to a high crime area, because
that's what I'm thinking. It's the demographic. They don't want
risk of people going in there buying ammunition and then loading a gun and having an accident. They don't want to have that. They want to keep that away from those low-income areas.
The one Walmart that has it is literally across the street from an elementary school, and the one that doesn't have it.
You can't be away from a school anymore. There's too many schools.
Well, hell, the Walmart where I am.
Oh, no fire.
The Walmart.
Oh yeah. You know how far I have to drive to find a Walmart that has a shotgun? Like I have to drive like 30, 40, 45 minutes, probably 50 minutes. Close to an hour.
The Walmart where I am is about 100 yards from a jail, and they sell ammunition and guns.
There's a Walmart like an hour from me north, and they have Colt ARs. They have everything. Semi-automatic shotguns, Ruger 1022s. They have a full gun section. But that's pretty far from me.
Yeah, we only got
one. How about the Stone Guy down there? They have them like where you're at, or what? Guns?
Oh yeah.
Just ammo. Okay.
Yeah, no guns. Just rifles and shot. No handguns.
Right, yeah, just rifles and shotgun.
Mine
That's true. They only have rifles now. They used to have them. They used to have pistols, but now they also have rifles.
Yeah, mine used to. This is back in the '90s. Used to have rifles and handguns. So I remember the counter still, but they got rid of that. And
anyway,
No,
but
well,
yeah,
You remember how lame Walmarts were?
out in the
You know how they
country.
have that knife thing now, where it's like, oh yeah, we've got all these. Here's a picture of them or whatever. That's how their pistols were. Like, oh yeah, we have a pistol. Here's a picture of it, or here's one like encased in cardboard under glass, so you can look at it, and then just buy it. Like you aren't even allowed to look at them.
no, mine has it all locked up behind glass. All the knives.
I got a Walmart out near where my deer lease is in this country town, and they actually sell reloading dies out there. It's like, what?
Yeah, they're stores, so they're going to sell what people are interested in buying. So I think that has a big chunk. People in the inner city, I don't think it's a danger thing necessarily. I mean, it could be, but I think it's also just those people aren't recreationally shooting. So why would they put a product in there wasting floor space when they're not doing it?
There's only one Walmart in my city. It's in the shitty area of the city. Well, not shitty, but it's not great, and it's got ammo and rifles and all that stuff.
What I don't get, though, is why the knives are locked up behind the counter when you just go to the kitchen section and just pull a knife.
I don't understand at the liquor store why all the cognac and Ciroc vodka is like behind the counter in a lockup thing. It's weird. I don't know, like
they lock
Ciroc
out
vodka.
what walks out.
Is that expensive vodka or something?
No, it's just like what a certain demographic wants, I guess. You know what I mean? Like, why is all this fucking Ciroc vodka?
Well, honestly, I
behind
mean,
this,
they
like,
do.
lockup?
You got to think, man.
Well,
that
something gets
you just
stolen
hit it. Yeah, people steal that shit. Like the what's that stuff they drink? That's
stuff they drink. What?
Yeah.
Budweiser?
Redneck?
Great drink.
Colt 45
ribbon.
Old English. The
Colt 45.
Old 45.
It's a liquor that
Cisco?
Good lord.
not Cisco.
Alizé?
No.
Is it the kind that looks like it's in the little crown bottle?
It's a brown liquor. God.
King Cobra.
Remy?
Is the
Hennessy?
liquor brown? Is the liquor the brown part?
Hennessy?
Hennessy.
Remy Martin?
Brown paper bag.
Hennessy is what I'm thinking of.
It's always behind the counter. That's what I'm talking about.
Exactly, because they know.
That's what I'm saying. It's crazy.
They know they steal it, right?
No bullshit.
Those fucking French fuckers with their cognac.
The French people.
They know that when night comes, it disappears, right?
When darkness
Yeah, it
falls.
reminds me of when I used to go, like, when I was a kid and I'd go to, like, a music store, all the rap music was behind the fucking counter, like, you know. Because
It is. It's sad. I mean, I'm not trying to be racist. It is,
No.
but it is. It's sad that they do that, and it is so blatant. I mean,
dude, I stole rap tapes before, so I know where they're coming from. I was young, but hey.
Like,
Got a lot
on the
of
basis if you don't acknowledge that the white kids that are trying to emulate their heroes in society, I mean, if they're listening to a rap album that says drinking Hennessy or whatever, it doesn't matter what color you are. If you're, you know, you want to be like the rap guy, then you're gonna steal it because you can't buy it yet because those things make you be 21. So
I used to laugh because
Tupac gin and juice was so often sold.
I know that I used to drink the Chivas because
Chivas.
Yeah.
Nice.
Your Moyle was your hero.
Chavez.
Beastie Boys.
Chivas
The
Regal.
Beastie Boys, man.
Yeah, Chivas Regal.
Wherever you go.
That stuff is actually really good, though.
Well, you know what Brass Monkey is, right?
Beer and orange
Brass
juice.
Monkey is the thing
It's a
that holds the
funky
cannonballs in a tripod shape.
No, Brass Monkey was Old English 800 and orange juice.
Oh, that's it. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's
Brass
disgusting.
Are you
Monkey.
kidding? Really?
No, I'm dead serious.
Why
That
would
funky
you?
monkey.
Wait, is that beer? Is that beer and orange juice?
Beer and orange
Yeah.
Oh, that's
that'd be good.
disgusting.
It's like a ghetto
Why would you-
mosa.
Try it tomorrow.
Ghetto Mosa.
Ghetto Mosa. That's
Whatever.
right.
You guys
Well,
don't.
this topic is really gone.
Oh, it's gone to hell. This is nowhere going to be nowhere near.
Can you edit this podcast? I'm sorry.
There's way too much work. How much it would cost to get all the
Wait, this is
racism
supposed to
out
be
of
a
this one?
podcast? I thought this was the open lobby.
No.
Oh, this was the.
Well, then I can turn it
We're
around.
talking topics.
This is where Court gets kicked off YouTube.
Okay, I can turn this around. What gun would you recommend for someone who wants or someone who owns a Phoenix 22
What gun?
and wants to like upgrade to a better model?
I would
Glock
keep the
19.
Phoenix. 'Cause the
Glock
Phoenix,
19.
Cruiser.
Phoenix is a cool gun, but just use it on range day or something. But
Ruger
50,000
SR22.
rounds, baby. 50,000 rounds.
I think the Ruger SR22 is a good.
SR22 is an awesome gun.
Awesome gun. Yep.
I've owned it for about 3 years.
Advantage
now,
arms.
2 years. They're awesome.
I will follow that up with
19 with an Advantage arms.
You know it. Good customer service. They're out in California, so
is that the conversion kit?
Yeah.
Have you had good luck with those?
Oh yeah, I had two of them.
Really? I've been thinking about getting that.
Me and my girl had them, but
availability.
You couldn't have 20. Yeah, we haven't had 22 in 2 fucking years, so I got rid of them.
So what happened in California today? Does anybody
know?
God.
That was yesterday.
What does that mean? What happened?
No, all they did was they had a rule about you couldn't have semi-automatic pistols unless they had loaded chamber indicators, but it didn't qualify for guns that only fired one shot. So the people out there were taking normal guns and doing a pin in them so they would only fire one shot that could just be removed. So they just closed the loophole on their own stupid law.
Yeah, that was that bill I mentioned last night, the 1964 bill or whatever it was called.
Yeah, that's not closing the loophole on their own stupid law, though. That's locking the loophole in, or getting rid of the loophole and locking it so that because I guess the way you guys were saying it last night, right? There was this list of guns that are approved, and if you wanted a gun that wasn't on the list, you could potentially have it sent to your gun shop. The gun shop could convert it to a single action gun, or single shot gun, excuse me, and then sell it to you. And it wasn't against the law for you to convert it back to a regular gun. It's just that you complied with the law and you legally purchased it in the configuration that they expected it to be in. They just were dumb and didn't write the law to say permanently, right?
I don't think they could be new either.
Right.
You had to buy them used on Gunbroker, whatever.
But it's definitely a anti-freedom legislation, right? Because it stopped people from being able to be free to buy the guns they want again.
Yeah, the original law wasn't right at all. Yeah. About saying, you can't buy these type of guns.
And it reinforces that original law, though, is the suck part.
Right. They basically fixed their own stupid law they didn't write right.
Okay, the way you were saying it, I thought you were saying that. Okay, I hear you saying that.
Yeah,
but yeah, that's
all I was trying to say is they wrote a law with an intent, and this law reinforces said intent because they didn't realize there was a kind of a way around it.
So what's the best gun to get if you're a California legislature?
Oh, like the guy who was against guns but illegally selling them and got busted by
trafficking them, whatever.
Yeah.
Chung Fong Lee, or whatever the fuck his name was.
I think it was Chung Fong Lee.
Hold on. What is the best gunstone guy to own if you own a liquor store and, for instance, they come for the Hennessy?
Glock 30 with a fake out the extendo from the Chris V or whatever.
Chris Vector? No,
yeah, the Vector extended mag in there.
I would say a Glock 19, but a blacked out Glock 19.
Murder.
Okay, I got it.
That's what they call it.
Hold on, I got it. A Glock 19 with a 33 round stick mag with the sights that you can lock onto the side to shoot it sideways.
That's pronounced extendo.
Extendo.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to
with side sights, Glock 19.
M&P 5. M&P. MP5, I think, is what you need for everything. And then if you need to step it up from there, AR.
Well,
every job I listened to so far,
a convenience store. So
MP5 pretty much is the go-to.
I will see your MP5
we look at it
and raise you a UMP 45.
Recall, man. You want to be able to,
Let's look at it from a different angle. What job out there is there a perfect gun for? So we've been coming up with guns for jobs, but I mean, if there's or maybe the backwards where we say what's the perfect gun? Yeah, but I was just saying there's got to be a perfect match out there. I don't know. That like a cowboy and a 6-shooter. Okay, that's an obvious one. But I mean, is there anything that just is a perfect match, but for whatever reason they're not doing it?
All of it, they're not doing. So not like a Glock and a police officer.
Right.
Like a drug dealer and a Glock. It's already been
I don't know about you guys,
drug dealer and
but
a High Point.
I feel so bad for EMT guys because they go into some of the most dangerous fucking situations, man, and they're not allowed to carry at all, you know.
What would it change if paramedics?
They changed that now. They can carry.
Really?
Well, but it depends on. You got to know it's a job, so your hospital can say no, you can't carry.
If it's bad, they wait for police backup.
Yeah, but most EMTs are private organizations.
That's a requirement generally.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Here it's that's a big huge thing like a month ago about EMTs not be able to go into a situation because cops didn't show up.
Right. That's a prerequisite. They have to wait for law enforcement to clear the scene before they can go in and render aid.
Yeah, although it took the cops like 20 minutes to show up, or 40 minutes or something like that. I think it was 20-some minutes for the cops to show up. The EMT were there in 3 minutes.
That's more of a legal thing, though, than a reason, in my opinion. It's not like there was a scourge of paramedics getting killed or something. I mean, I guess it happens when they get their medicine stolen, but for the most part,
it's a proactive approach. Right.
My guess also too is again insurance plays a huge part on this. You know what the private industry, you know, because they're the ones that run.
There's a risk, so it's not that much of a big deal if you just hold off until the cops get there. So that's what you're going to do.
Right. It's to protect their bottom line and keep their insurance rates down.
Yeah, a lot of
topics are crazy. I'm not going to go racist, but sounds like everybody would be down or would be okay if paramedics, EMTs carried, and firefighters for that matter. They carried if they wanted to.
I would say if they have a concealed permit, you know, concealed carry, why not? I mean, just they can carry concealed.
I say if they've even gone through that much effort, because I figure, I mean, I've been in EMT. I've not been in working EMT, but I've gone to EMT school, so I have at least a taste of what it's like. And you don't go to EMT school for the most part unless you're there to be, you know, to be good, to want to help other people. You don't like go, oh, I'm going to make a fortune. I'm going to go be a paramedic. You know what I mean? You're doing it because you want to help other people. So I say that alone, they don't need a CCW. Just let them carry.
Yeah, I was going to say the exact same thing.
I mean, I guess
I would say though, I would,
because they're responsible. They probably would train up. But
I would like them to carry concealed, so it doesn't, you know, so it doesn't look like they're just fucking police.
Yeah. You know I'm not saying that we need 6-shooters on firefighters either. You're right, and I think they probably would too, because they're going to know for the most part that if you come up to somebody who's having a bad time and they're scared of guns, you're not helping anything by open carrying.
So what would be the perfect
it's my right to open carry. Now calm down.
Handgun for an EMT fire guy?
EMTs are usually impaired.
AR-15 open carried on your back.
EMTs are usually in pairs, so they, you know, them getting attacked is more likely. Firefighters, if somebody's going to attack a firefighter, they got to deal with like 5 or 6 other firefighters, and they're going to get their ass kicked. Like,
and they got axes and water hoses.
And they're usually in pretty good physical condition, you know.
True.
If you're going to attack a firefighter,
my wife watches the firefighter mow his lawn across the street.
True that.
A firefighter could not carry
him. She just wants to keep an eye on, make sure he's doing.
I'm sorry, I don't know why that was so
right.
I have so many inappropriate comments for that one, Nathan. I'm just gonna leave him alone.
The sad part is, it's true.
He watches it too.
Holy shit! Sorry.
And?
Never mind.
That's taking what to a whole new level.
Why didn't? Yeah, well, come on.
I just wish I still had my dog, because I just found the coolest fucking dog collar. I think G-Webs might need this for his dog.
Is it an AK-47?
If it's got spikes, he already owns like 20 of them. Got that for himself.
You have a Doberman, right? I think this would be pretty
nice.
He's private about this.
There may or may not be a Doberman.
Oh
shit, that is pretty cool. Except for the belt buckle. That's after me, so I would need the old metal belt buckle.
Like the SOE collar, I like those.
I bet they make it. They gotta. I'm gonna look.
I like how it says canine on it. That's pretty cool.
Oh, you could totally make one of these too. That's pretty neat.
I mean, how hard would it be to make one of those? Those canvas belts are adjustable and cuttable.
Yeah, you can just cut them.
Yeah, you just cut them to the size, yeah.
Well.
Cool.
Get an old.
They need to be a big dog too, because it has to have some neck, because that's obviously kind of wide. So yeah, that'd be nothing on my dog, but short dog wouldn't be able to pull it off of him.
Yeah, my mini schnauzer couldn't support that.
Thanks to me because we're one of those.
Okay, get everybody say the same thing at the same time again?
Oh, sorry about that.
I know. I'm pretty sure 4 of you said something at the same time.
Bleep, bleep, bleep.
No, I said Luke's dog, BB, would not be able to wear one of those.
Well, as a coat.
As a belt.
As a belt, yeah. And on that note...
Man, I want another dog. God damn it.
Get one, dude. Come on.
Rescue one.
That's true.
Well,
you can always get a dog pound.
I think we've run this down to get a dog, in all seriousness.
Oh.
So, on that note...
There's a picture of a Doberman wearing one on their pictures. He looks all pissed off, though.
All right. We need somebody to run the lobby chat, so we need a volunteer for the lobby. And I want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight and watching. So, go over to the lobby chat when we get one set up.
I can start